الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله جزا الله عنا نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم بما هو أهله أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, all praise due to Allah that gave us another opportunity to wake up this morning. All praise due to Allah that gave us the health and everything that comes with it, that allows us to come to the house of Allah Azza wa Jal and for us to worship Him alone. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah for everything that you and I have in our lives. Alhamdulillah for another new year. An opportunity again for us to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. Brothers and sisters in Islam, I want to focus on gratitude. And I believe as believers, we ought to focus more on gratitude in our lives, because every time we are grateful regarding a bounty of Allah, Allah Azza wa Jal subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses that bounty of ours. When we are grateful for our health, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses our health. When we are grateful for our time, Allah Azza wa Jal blesses our time. And like this, the list goes on and on and on. When it comes to gratitude, awwalan, first of all of us proclaim that all of us are grateful to Allah. And there is no doubt in our minds that we are grateful to Him Azza wa Jalla. The next step of gratitude that we find from the Quran, when Allah Azza wa Jal addresses the Bani Israel by telling them how to show gratitude. اعملوا آل داود شكرا. That, O the progeny of David, O Bani Israel, it is very easy for you to say that you are grateful to Allah, because talk is cheap, right? It's very easy to claim that I am grateful to Allah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Bani Israel and also addressing us and the mankind until Yawmul Qiyamah by even addressing this in the Quran, that gratitude is through action. To translate what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, addressing the Bani Israel, close translation is, O Bani Israel, show your appreciation through your actions. Show your appreciation through your actions. There's another beautiful principle that we find in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, in modern English or in today's terms, pay it forward. Pay it forward. See, I believe that us as the Muslim community living in this era today, in the beginning of 2023, it is imperative that we begin to look for the common good of others outside of ourselves. We have to come out of this mindset of limited benefit, which is, first of all, how can I benefit myself? And then that may grow into, how can I benefit my family? And then that could grow into, how can I benefit my neighborhood? A believer is that individual. We find it is said, خَيْرُ النَّاسِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِلنَّاسِ. The best of people are those people that are beneficial to others. According to this, the scale of how good a person is how beneficial a person is to another human being. And especially the time and age that we live in, it is imperative for us as believers to stand in the front lines when it comes to different issues of this community in general. For example, there are areas within 20 miles, within this 20-mile radius, where there hasn't been any power or running water in some of these towns. Now, chances are you were affected by this yourself. And I did exchange messages with some of you that how humbling it is to experience that. And then we go buy or rent a generator and we do everything that we need to do. But what is my iman allowing me to do as a member of this society? Do my neighbors have plenty of water? Do they have enough medication? Do they have enough food? Coming back to the topic here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Be good towards others, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been good to you. وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ. Again, be good towards others, just as how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has been good to you. In other words, pay it forward. I've been following a statistic of Sacramento County for the past few years. And that is the percentage of the population of Sacramento County that is food insecure. I remember a few years ago when I first Googled food insecurity in Sacramento County, I remember it was 11.6, 11.7%. And if you do the math, plus minus 200,000 people in Sacramento County, food insecure. If you look for this statistic again, it is now, last time I checked, it was 13.1 or 13.2%. In the past few years, it's been increasing, not decreasing. So brothers and sisters in Islam, we come to the house of Allah Azza wa Jal to be reminded, right? And sometimes we take steps for medical treatment when it's necessary, and sometimes it's scary, right? But we understand it is for our own benefit. Perhaps it is also something for us to reflect and think about the following, that just because you and I have plenty of food and water at our homes, or just because we have power at the house, or we have all the resources that we have in our homes, does not necessarily mean that my neighbors have the same. So how do you pay it forward? There are a few ways, and we could be creative, mashallah, in doing so. Number one, through our character. Paying it forward with our character. It is narrated in Sunan Abu Dawood that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, "Ar-rahimun yarhamuhum ar-Rahman, irhamu ahl al-ard yarhamukum man fis sama." Or kama qala alayhi salatu wasalam. Mercy to be more merciful towards each other as human beings, and to add an incentive that I, as a human being, try to live by, again, it's an attempt that I'm making personally, is perhaps I should show mercy to someone else so that Allah can show mercy to me on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Perhaps I should forgive my fellow human being so that Allah can show me forgiveness on Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's a very bold thing to live by. It's easier said than done. But perhaps leaving with this point today of how we can be more merciful to each other. You know, there's a hadith that I'm reminded of where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Laysa minna man lam yarham saghirana wa lam yuwaqqir kabirana," or kama qala alayhi salatu wasalam. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was sent as rahmatul lil alameen, a mercy for mankind. And for him to exclude someone from this ummah of mercy shows the magnitude of the message that he's sending across. So he starts off by saying, "You're not from amongst us." For someone like him to say something like this, and now you have his attention. Oh Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who's not from amongst us? What did he say? Who does not show respect to our elders and does not show mercy to our youngsters. O kama qala alayhi salatu wasalam. By practicing on this one beautiful hadith, we always come across someone who is either older than us or younger than us. So if more of us treated our elders with more respect, and again, it's a two-way street, and we showed more mercy to our youngsters, we could collectively, as a community, definitely make this world a better place. So one of the ways we can pay it forward is through our character. There are countless examples of how good character inspired people towards Islam. There are some incidents which are mentioned in books of history where a group of Sahaba went into Asia. They did not speak the language. They went there to trade. They were literally not able to communicate with the people. But the fact that how they carried themselves as business people affected that locality to an extent that the ruler of that time passed a decree to expel the group of Sahaba from that area because of how honest they were and how amazing character they had. So when it is mentioned, right? So when the Sahaba began to leave, the local people began to leave with them. And they said, "We want to be with these people." Character, akhlaq. Another way we can pay it forward is through our time. There's always something to do. When I was preparing for this Jummah, I was constantly reminded of Ammu Abu Amin, Allah yarhamhu. I will tell you something very personal of myself. I'm still a student of Deen, right? But when I was boarding at South Sacramento Islamic Center, trying to memorize the Quran, according to my memory, this is 2004, 2005, those days. That is when his family, I believe, first moved into the region. And I was literally a teenager at that time. And he was a regular person, just like he was in that corner after Fajr. Maybe his mushaf is still sitting there. All the time in South Sacramento Islamic Center. And then family moved in this part of Sacramento County. And my childhood memory is witnessing this man in the house of Allah. Always something to do. You look at the trees inside Sacramento Islamic Center. You look at the trees outside. He planted these trees for us. But he left a legacy. He quietly left a legacy. That the solution to all our problems are found by bowing down to Allah. I remember coming here for Fajr and the Quran halaqah in the back. These are memories that we all have. Time. See, all of us have time. All of us have time. The question is, how much priority are we giving to that time? See, when someone tells us that I am busy, indirectly they're telling you, unfortunately, so and so is not a priority for me. All of us have the same 24 hours a day. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to become better human beings through our akhlaq, through our character, through our worry and concern for other human beings and animals, for believers, disbelievers, everybody. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless us with the worry and concern of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana li hadha wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. Jazallahu anna nabiyyana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam bima huwa ahlu. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, one of the takeaways that we can walk away with as a community by Ammu Abu Amin leaving us, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taking him from us, is how we can be inspired by his legacy of being a Hamam al-Masjid, right? Being a person whose heart is mu'allaq bil masajid, whose heart is, as it said, hung or connected to the house of Allah Azza wa Jal. I made a statement in the first khutbah that all the solutions, like all the problems that you and I have in our lives, and by me addressing everyone generally speaking, I am not making any attempt to minimize the pain, the challenge, or anything that you, oh brother or sister, is going through. Only Allah knows what you are going through. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us hope by telling us, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O those of you that believe in me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Amanu, O those of you that believe in Allah, Ista'inu, seek Allah's help. Why? Because when we seek help, that is the first step for us to acknowledge that we are weak. We are stepping over our ego when we're seeking out help. We're acknowledging our feebleness. That we are weak, feeble, forgetful human beings. So the first step is to acknowledge that yes, we are hurting. And then what does a believer do when he or she is hurting? Ista'inu bis sabri was salah. Seek Allah's help. Awwalan, number one, through patience. And another incentive to be given about patience, my dear respected brother and sister in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Verily, those individuals that will have patience, they will receive unlimited reward. Mufassirin unpack this for us and they say that in order for you and I to be a recipient of unlimited reward, we need to pay the price with unlimited patience. In other words, unlimited patience is the price we pay for unlimited reward. It's tough, I know, but we have Allah. Sabr. Inna Allaha ma'as sabirin. Verily, Allah is with those that are patient. And number 2, bis salah. Ista'inu bis sabri was salah. Seeking Allah's help and assistance through salah. This was shown to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba kiram radiyallahu anhum ajma'in and everyone after them, that whenever I have a challenge, and I've shared this before in this past summer, or before I traveled overseas, is the 2 rak'ahs of salah for us to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we are faced with a challenge. Wallahi, it is more powerful than anything in this world and it contains. That conviction that you have in Allah when you make wudu and you pray those 2 voluntary rak'ah of salah and you're turning to Allah, your iman in action, your faith in action, you're turning only to Allah. You're allowing your forehead to bow down before the one and only. Allah will not turn you away. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow us to turn to Allah alone when we are facing any kind of challenge. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Aqimus salah. Quick dua for Amu Abu Amin and his family. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. اللهم اغفر له وارحمه واعف عنه وسكنه في الجنة. اللهم اجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنة. اللهم اغفر له وارحمه واعف عنه وسكنه في الجنة. اللهم اجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنة. Oh Allah, we ask you that you forgive Abu Amin, oh Allah. Oh Allah, we ask you that you make his grave a garden of paradise. Oh Allah, allow us to be inspired by his legacy of love for the Quran and love for the Masjid, oh Allah. Oh Allah, allow us to develop more and more love for the Quran, for the Deen and the Masjid, oh Allah. Oh Allah, allow everything that he did, planting the trees, looking after the gardens of different masajid. Oh Allah, you bless him with the best gardens of paradise, oh Allah. Oh Allah, you allow all of his efforts to be a means of sadaqah jariyah, a perpetual reward for him, oh Allah. Oh Allah, allow us to follow such footsteps as well, oh Allah. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya